of hosts has spoken. Look at Zechariah 3 and 10. In that day, declares the Lord of hosts, every one of you will invite his neighbor to sit under his vine and under his fig tree. Each of these references may be a place for contemplation. So what does that say about Nathanael? Do you have any clue that this might say something about him? I think it's more like this. Nathan is a thinker, not a guy looking for shade, not a guy looking for a nap. He's a thinker. He wouldn't take anything at face value. So when Philip comes and tells him that he's found the Messiah and he's from Nazareth, Nathanael doesn't believe it. He's got to go see for himself. All he knows about is the reputation of Nazareth. That's all he knows. He's not going to take Philip's word for it. He's going to go and check it out himself. When Jesus uses the phrase, we can suppose Jesus saw him under the fig tree in meditation on the Scriptures. And we're going to get to a really cool part here in a minute. So let's look at this next phrase. Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel. This is the testimony of Nathanael regarding Jesus. In his testimony, Nathanael describes the unique nature between Jesus and God the Father. He identifies Jesus as the Son of God. By saying Jesus is the King of Israel, Nathanael describes him as the Messiah who had come as a king. Taking a closer look at the phrase, the Son of God, it's important to keep the article the in mind. The Son of God. The article indicates that the expression is to be understood as bearing a full, not a minimum or a lacking content. Using this phrase, Nathanael could not describe Jesus in ordinary terms. All right. Jesus answered and said to him, because I said to you that I saw you under the fig tree, do you believe? You will see greater things than these. If it were not enough that Jesus saw him under the fig tree, Jesus informs him that he would see greater things. This is a promise made by Jesus to Nathanael. It's the same promise that Jesus makes to believers today. Have you known Christ as the Word? John tells his readers in the beginning of this chapter. Now he's telling his readers Jesus is more than that. He's both spirit and light. Has Jesus become flesh? Now he's telling his readers, behold, you shall behold him glorified with the glory he had before the worlds. Have you known Jesus as the Alpha before all? Now you will know him as the Omega. Have you met John the Baptist? You shall meet the one who is greater. Do you know the baptism by water? You shall be baptized by fire. Have you beheld the Lamb on the cross? You shall behold him in the midst of the throne. In Jesus, all who come upon him as Lord will see greater things than what you see right now. And he said to him, truly, truly, I say to you, you will see the heavens opened and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man. Here Jesus promises Nathanael what he will see that is greater than what he has already seen. This is significant, not in what Jesus says so much, but to the topic of what he says. Remember, he sees Nathanael sitting where? Under the fig tree. What is Nathanael considering? Remember, Jesus is omnipresent. So how is Jesus now directing Nathanael's thoughts? He might be directing Nathanael in what he was pondering when he was sitting underneath the fig tree. You ever think of that? Nope, he didn't. So, declaration. Yeah. Yeah, and that all ties in with the work of John the Baptist. Because what was his work? Well, prepare the way for the Messiah. And what happened? The Messiah came, and we've got to give some examples where people declare that they see the Son of God as the Messiah. All right, let's see, where was I? Okay. Jesus could tell Nathanael anything, right? When he's talking to Nathanael, he could say anything. But he tells them this. He tells them, truly I say to you, you will see the heavens open and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man. What's the precursor for that? Did Nathanael ask him a question? Where is Jesus coming up with this? Possibly it's because he knows what he's been pondering in his heart, in his mind. All right. So, what did Nathanael see? What does he see? What does God say, or Jesus say he's going to see? He's going to see heaven open up. Where have we seen that before? Heaven opening up. John the Baptist, when he baptizes Jesus, right? He says, you're going to see heaven open up. But Nathanael missed all this. So it's in the future, right? He's promising in the future he's going to see heaven open up. The angels of the God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man. That's the second thing he's going to see. The phrase, the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man, is similar to the dream of Jacob found in Genesis 28 and 12. Let's look at that. He had a dream, and behold, a ladder was set on the earth, and with its top reaching to heaven, and behold, the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. Ooh, that's pretty close, isn't it? Jesus said he was the ladder, the link between heaven and earth. What Jesus is telling Nathanael is that Jesus is the mediator between God and man. This would be even a better sign, wouldn't it? With this statement, Jonathan learns that Jesus is the real ladder by which the gulf between the earth and the heaven is bridged. If we look at what Jesus tells Nathanael, it seems a little out of place or obscure, but to the Apostle John, it's important enough to record the comment. To Nathanael, it's probably extremely meaningful. If speculation were allowed, since Jesus was already exposing his omnipresence to Nathanael, would it be out of line to suggest that Jesus is commenting on the very portion of Scripture Nathanael was meditating on underneath the fig tree? Could be. This brings us to chapter 2. Water into wine. Love this one. Okay. On the third day there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there, and both Jesus and his disciples were invited to the wedding. So let's look at on the third day. Here John continues the account from the previous chapter. as the Apostle John notes happenings on a particular day. Chapter 1, 1928, on the first day when John the Baptist starts his testimony. Chapter 1, 29:34, the next day after that. John 1, 35, 42, and then again the next day. And now, on the third day. The third day is probably to be counted from the event last mentioned, which is the calling of Nathanael. All right, let's look at this phrase. There was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there, and both Jesus and his disciples were invited to the wedding. This is the first of many accounts suggesting that Jesus was always welcomed among those who were having a good time. Think about when Jesus went to the death of people, when he rose people. Was he welcomed? No, he wasn't. He was, why are you here? They're already gone. But here is a joyous occasion, and Jesus is welcome. Jesus' presence didn't spoil the good time, and in the Jewish culture of that day, a wedding was the best party of all. Let it be known, some have already come up with some way out of their way ideas about John's account of the wedding. Now get this, all right? This is what some people are saying. One traditional idea was that this was the Apostle John's wedding, and he left his bride at the altar to follow Jesus after seeing the miracle. Have you heard that one? Here's another one. This is the wedding of Jesus himself, which is held in belief by the Mormons and the followers of the New Age thinking. Where do they have it wrong? Well, this goes against the plain meaning of the passage and is contrary to all of the gospel records of the life of Jesus. So somebody's not right, okay? The fact that Jesus was invited to this wedding has several implications. The invitation of Jesus to this wedding says something about the kind of man Jesus was, his reputation and his character. The invitation says something about Jesus' presence at all weddings in general. Yours, mine, everybody, okay? Jesus comes to a marriage and gives his blessing there that we may know the family is created under his care. The invitation says something about what happens when we invite Jesus into the events of our lives. And we remember that Jesus was to live his life in the shadow of the cross. He knew the pain and the agony that awaited him, but yet, with his mind occupied by all these things, he still had a good time at a wedding. And the mother of Jesus was there. It's significant to mention that Apostle John does not include Joseph, Mary's husband, attending the wedding. We all have heard this and talked about this before. The explanation most probably is that by this time Joseph is dead. This could lend to the reason that Jesus had took up the trade as a carpenter and had stayed in Nazareth for 18 years. Being the eldest of the family, it would be his responsibility to take care of the family and his mother. It was only when his younger brothers and sisters were able to look after themselves that he left home. And we'll end right there. 2 minutes go. Any questions, comments? All right, next time we'll be knee-deep in chapter 2.